Newalta Dairy is owned by my father-in-law and mother-in-law, me and my wife Alicia, and my brother-in-law Ian. In Pipestone County, we are the largest dairy farm, but we're still a very family-run dairy. There's a lot of different family members in different departments of this dairy. We hire a lot of people. We have a lot of employees, but we kind of try to treat them like family, and they all have families. So sometimes we get categorized as something different, but I still believe that we are a family farm. Our barns are insulated roofs. Each cow has its own free stall, so that's where it can lay down. In the free stalls, it's almost like they're laying out on the beach. The sand is nice and cool in the summer, and in the winter it actually holds heat, so when they're laying down it creates heat for them. With sand, there isn't much foreign material other than sand, so it is a clean source for them to lay down in. Our cows are fed a lot of forages that are produced locally here in Pipestone County and surrounding areas. We bring in a lot of corn silage from our neighbors, haylages. We feed a little sorghum from some neighbors. A lot of our feed doesn't have to get trucked in from long distances. It's all local. We milk all Holsteins. A Holstein, we can get a lot of milk efficiency out of our feeds, out of our land, because they can produce so much more than most other breeds. Our cows, they 3 times a day come to the parlor. We disinfect, do all the procedures for quality of the milk. So a cow is actually only being milked for about 4 to 5 minutes. Within 45 minutes of leaving their pen, they're back to fresh water and feed. A lot of it has to come down to cleanliness, especially, it's in the pens, but the big focus is in our milking parlor. And we're held by a very high standard from our milk plants that buy from us. So we have to keep everything food grade clean, and it goes down to from the pipeline that the milk goes to all the way to back in the free stalls where the cows live. Things need to be clean, cows need to be clean, you know, the yards need to be clean, everything needs to be clean. Being a dairy farmer, I was grown into it, born into it, but I just like working with the cattle. Also, just producing a product for people to, you know, eat, drink. Dairy is, we make a lot of products for people, and you got to feel honored that you're doing that.
Started out with our children, and now we have our grandchildren here on the farm, and it's just a blessing to be able to see them grow. I lived actually here for over 50 years on this farm, and when Justin and Ashley wanted to come into the operation, we looked around for acreages close by, and we really didn't find any. And you know, we all kind of got together and we decided that the best place for the grandkids to grow up was right here on the farm. I'm Mike Zeinstra, and I have been dairy farming here with my wife Lisa for 40 years. I am a second generation farmer. My father started the dairy operation here. And I have 4 daughters and one which is with us, her and her husband Justin, in the operation, and she is right here.
I'm Ashley Hoheisel, and my husband and I, Justin, are 3rd generation farmers, and we have been with the dairy since 2011 is when he started working here, and we became partners in the business in 2014. We also have 3 children, a 10-year-old boy, Colton, and twins that are 6, Lincoln and Everly. The 10-year-old is a little bit more involved because he's older and able to help with more things.
So we turn the switch on, and then we put this on the bucket. This grain comes out, and then we pick up the bucket and we put them in the bunks, and then they eat it. And then in a little bit, at like an hour later, we come in here and we give them hay.
The 6-year-olds also can help with just the feeding calves and just being around the animals and teaching them the correct way to take care of an animal. You need to water them, you need to feed them, you need to be kind to them. So much of our dairy has improved with technology. When I was a little girl, we bottle fed every calf by hand. Now we have an automatic calf feeder. The calves each have their own sensor that they can drink 24 hours a day.
When there's a calf in the stall to drink milk, and the light goes green, that tells it that it's getting milk. And when it drinks all its credits, the light will turn red, so then it has to wait until it gets more credits later in the day to be able to drink again. The stall is milk, it gets brought to it from this automatic feeder here, and this here feeder has a balancer inside that helps fortify the pasteurized milk. And this screen here, if you close the thing again, Colton, will tell you that, okay, this calf now is drinking, and she's allowed to drink 3.5 liters, and she has drank 2.2 so far. And it also tells you how much she's drank for the total day and how much she drank yesterday. My favorite part of being a dairy farmer is seeing calves be born, you know, seeing God's creation as it in its finest. I mean, you look around, you know, who wouldn't want to work out here in the open? You know, get to work with, you know, God's animals. I like to see the calves grow. I enjoy that. I enjoy tractor driving, you know, out in the field, you know, being able to just see the crops grow also. It's just seeing God's creation flourish. One of my favorite things.
Welcome to Welgraven Dairy. We're going to go on a tour, see the calves, and then probably walk down to see the cows and see how the dairy goes. We're going past the shop. That is kind of the heart of the operation as far as fixing things and getting everything running. The tractor you see in the corner sitting there is a tractor from my grandpa, way back on my mom's side, her dad. So that's, my dad purchased it from him and I got it from my dad. So that's one that can't leave the farm. Okay, here's where we keep all of our calves in the hutches. We usually keep them here to about 2 to 3 months. It's a little bit muddy here in between, but we just had about 10 inches of rain, so, and you get to see all the red calves on our farm. Those are mostly all milking shorthorns. And this one is a pure white shorthorn, which I always feel are kind of unique to get. You don't see those very often. A little bit of red on her ears. Yeah, you like to show off, don't you? My dad actually started milking on this farm when he purchased it back in 1967, I believe it was. He started out working in town, and also he'd buy a heifer or two at a time, and that's how we got started. The old barn in place where the shop was, we tore that down a couple years ago, but we started milking in the hip roof barn and stanchions, and that's how we got into the milking industry. So we've been here for, 50 years on this farm. So, and he slowly built a shed at a time when he could afford to, and that's kind of how we got started. We built the milking barn down here with the parlor and free stalls 22 years ago, my wife and I. The equipment in the old barn was just getting too old to replace, and so yeah, that's how we got started with this barn, and here we are. I got 3 of them that need a scratch behind the ears before they can go into the parlor. Right? Yeah, you're a good girl. So the cows, as you can see, have a sand bed to lay on. We try and keep it up, as best we can, and they're comfortable and get a nice breeze through with the sand, and they're fed a full TMR mix, so they're getting a balanced diet every day. Cow basically stands here. The milker gets taken down, put on the cow here. Milk goes through the lines into the stainless steel, into the jar, and then it's pumped into the bulk tank, up through, and gets pumped into there, and there's another little tube that goes down into the tank and gets dropped into the tank. We're on top of Buffalo Ridge, so we have a lot of hills. I mean, when it rains a lot, it can wash pretty severely and cuts ravines, which you have to watch so you don't have that happen, because if you wash the soil away, you lose all of your top good black soil, and that's what you don't want to happen. So with doing it the way we do it, we try and eliminate, or at least have it as little as possible washing, so the soil stays in place. We haul a lot of manure on top and that, so you also get your micronutrients growing in the soil, which to me helps keep the soil in place as well.
My name is Caitlin Welgraven, and I am the Pipestone County Dairy Princess. So basically that just means that I represent Pipestone County and I represent the dairy aspect of it. So I go to different types of events, whether that's parades, craft days with kids, handing out ice cream at the bank, or whatever else that we plan, and just kind of inform people about the dairy industry and talk about different aspects and their questions and what they don't know, and also just talk about my farm and make sure that the dairy industry is constantly spread and it's promoted in the right way. I think what's unique is you get to see the behind the scenes almost, because not many people know how a dairy cow is raised or what all the milking entails, even just how the milk gets from a farm to a plant to get turned into different dairy products. And you get to see how hardworking that all farmers are and how much work they constantly put in, because they really don't get a vacation. They don't get days off. It's year round, and they're making sure that their farm is running smoothly constantly and that there's not going to be any problems with their cattle, and they're making sure that they are constantly sustainable and that their cows are healthy. I mainly help with calves. The calves are my main job. I know what's constantly going on for the most part. And then I just help out with anything that my dad needs, whether that's field work or getting him out of the field to go do something else, or when help with vet checks or breeding, pulling cedars, etc. Anything that he needs, I'll be here to help. And then I just kind of help manage and make sure everything is going right if my dad's not here, if he needs me to check on something. My favorite part is definitely working with the calves. I love seeing how they grow up, and especially when they go from a hut to a shed, they get like the zoomies almost and realize that they have legs, and then just seeing them grow and change. Mine would probably be yogurt, just because you can put it in so many different recipes and it's just a nice little snack as well. I also love ice cream for the nice sweet treat, because that's constantly, you can have that year round and no matter what. But I think it's just so important that we have dairy in many different recipes, and it's so involved that we don't even realize it, and just different recipes or different daily foods that you'll eat or snack on. I think the first thing is see if they can reach out to a dairy farmer in their area, or if they have a dairy princess, ask them questions first and then ask them, okay, well, I want to learn more just besides your farm. What can I do? Or how can I even see a dairy farm if they're interested in that? And what's important is just always just reach out to dairy farmers, because a dairy princess is going to know several, and dairy farmers are going to be happy to bring you on their farm. And if you're so curious that you want a tour, they're going to be happy to do that. But if there's a bigger resource, it's going to be Midwest Dairy always, just because they have so many different facts and just things that maybe are in a different state. Like they have Iowa facts on there too for different dairy farms. And I believe they even have virtual tours that you can take as well if you want to see several different ones.